Lights, camera, action. Let's start the show. Here's a little bit of wedding advice from me to help your love story unfold. Welcome back, lovebirds. This is your wedding series, and I'm your content creator. I've gone to a lot of weddings, and as you guys know, there's some things that I think have gone really well. They ran well, and then there's some things that I feel like could have been done much better. So I'm just giving my advice on these things. I also have been married for 6 years, and so I've been very excited to share a lot of like marriage advice and things to help you to prepare and plan before you even get engaged. So we did that back in season 1. That is like a very spicy, exciting time in your life because you're not married yet, right? You're not engaged, you're not betrothed, you don't even know anyone. And this is what I'm talking about, the age 14 years old. When we're 14 years old, most of us are not thinking about getting married. We are at school, focus on our friends and things like that. And once we do start getting like allowance and then getting a little job, we don't really think about, planning for the future and starting that young and trying to learn how to balance, a bank account, finances, and save, right? So I focus on that. I want the next generations to do better. And so we did that in season 1. So anyone that's curious, please go back and look at those. We also talked about how you can prepare to start learning what it's like to be a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, and having those mentor couples in your life early so that you can ask questions to, because life be lifing, and there's a lot going on out here. It can get extremely stressful, especially if you don't start preparing early. Now, it doesn't mean that things aren't going to come along in our lives that are going to, still take us off of our plan. But at least we can start being a little bit more prepared for adulthood than we have been in the past. I think that our parents have just been so busy working that they didn't have time to really sit and instill a lot of these fundamentals into us. And so we just kind of were learning things on our own, including marriage, weddings, how to be a wife, how to be a husband, how to be parents. Very important foundations that we need, but have kind of been forgotten about. So go back and look at season 1, but right now we are in season 3. We've already fast forward to the age in which you get engaged, which is different for everybody. Not everybody gets engaged at the exact same time. So we fast forwarded and we are in season 3, episode 15. And today we're talking about wedding ceremony and reception DIYs that you need to start doing right now. As you know, I've been planning this wedding like step by step, day by day, really, and giving you guys a lot of advice on things to do, to be planning from the beginning. And now we're in season 3, episode 15. So a lot of planning has already taken place, but we are at the DIYs, and this is do-it-yourself type of arts and crafts, things that you're going to be doing on your own. And the reason why I say you're doing it on your own, because obviously it's a DIY, and because you may not have a huge budget for your wedding for these details. These are the details at your wedding. This is more than just the venue. Yes, you've by season 3, episode 15, by this part of the planning, you should have a venue, okay? You should have a venue picked out, and it's nice to have that already picked out because then you know what we're working with when it comes to these DIYs. So you're going to take out your mood board, your vision board, and your task board. Look at your mood board, and you should have already printed out pictures. When you guys hear me say the word should have, it's because we've already discussed this in a different episode. And if you're following step by step, none of this is going to be foreign to you, and you're not going to be out of order. So you should have on your mood board inspirational pictures from the venue. So some form of photographs that are giving you inspiration for that day. You've gone in, you've taken some pictures of the venue, you've taken some pictures of the setup of what they said it's going to look like. Hopefully you've got that, because they could just show up with anything that day, and you'll be very, very upset with them in that. So hopefully they've given you like a mock. It may not be your colors. I mean, it'll be even better if it's your colors, but it may be somebody else's wedding that was set up for that weekend, and they're telling you, okay, you're going to have something similar to this, minus this, or with the addition of this, right? Meaning however many flowers you're going to have, or how many chairs or tables you might be having. So you want to look at those inspiration pictures first, because this is going to tell you, okay, how much decor do I need? Because we're starting with DIYs when it comes to the decor for the ceremony, and then obviously for the reception. But you're going to start with the ceremony first to not get so, discombobulated. And the reception happens after the ceremony anyway, so we don't need to stress as badly on that right now. So right now you're just focused on that. And then once you're done with the ceremony decorations, go ahead and get out your list to start for the reception. Okay, so first you're going to start with the list. You're looking at those mood pictures, you're looking at those photos, and you're saying, okay, what else could I add to this space? Everyone's space is different. So I can't tell you everything that you're going to add into your space for decor, but I can give you some ideas of checklist of things to look out for. Number one, just do a 360 right now. In your head, when you're at the venue, hopefully you have a video of this, of you doing a 360, meaning just looking at the walls, just looking at the trees if you're outside, just looking at the space around you, just the space. We're not at the floors and the chairs just yet, just looking at the space itself, either 4 walls, 5 walls, 6 walls, whatever it is, walls, windows, or if you're outside, whatever that looks like outside. Look around. How bare of a blank slate does it look like to you? Does it look pretty filled? Does it look pretty empty? If it looks pretty empty, you're going to need to fill this space, okay? Meaning if it's just 4 white walls, you're going to need to fill this space with some kind of decor, or it's going to look very, very bland. It's going to look not good, okay? I mean, it's up to you. It's your wedding day. You don't have to add any of this. Remember, guys, I'm just giving advice, so you don't have to take the advice, okay? So you're going to look at it and be like, okay, it needs things. It needs something. So the first thing that I would start with is the backdrop. Where do you want people to stand with you? Or should I say, we're not even at the reception yet. That's for the reception. Where do you want for the altar to be at the reception? Or if you're getting married in a church, obviously, thank goodness you have the altar there. It's so beautiful. You may have to do nothing to the backdrop there, right? That's your backdrop for the ceremony, is the altar. But if you're getting married, say like the beach, or if you're getting married, say at the park, or a theater, or a wedding venue, then where you stand at the altar may not have any kind of decoration on it. Now the beach is different. You've got the beach. You're probably not going to do much there except for add an arch, and then you'll decorate and embellish the arch as much as you want to. You don't have to have an arch. That's really up to you. And if the venue can provide that, great. But if you are not going through a venue and you're just going to go out there and get married on the beach, you can do that. You can do that. So you don't need to have a ton of decor. But, when it comes to especially being inside of a venue for a ceremony, you want some kind of decor. So you're starting with that space around you when you do a 360. Just turn around amongst yourself and just be like, okay, this wall doesn't have anything. Do we want to add something here? What could it be? Do we want flowers? Do we want some vines? Do we want some those little like wall lights, those little fairy lights that hang down? Do you want some of those? Do you want some cloth? Maybe you want some cloth to be draped. I saw a beautiful wedding where they had drapes as you entered the door. So I really think that that was so great because even though it was like a very, very like simple space, they did drapes over the door that hung all the way down to the floor. And then they had them, cascaded one on each side so that as people walked through, especially the grand entrance, those drapes were already open. And it was just such a beautiful sight to see the way people decorate drapes. So think about a pair of drapes, a pair of curtains going across the threshold, and that is the door in which people were entering for the reception or even for the ceremony. I saw that they did it for both, and I was like, genius, genius, genius way to change a space. Okay. And that's for any party. I just love that idea. It was just really, really great. Now, the next thing you want to think about, besides like walls and doors and windows, is going to be the floors. Okay. You've got your backdrop in mind. You've got your doors, your walls and things like that situated. If you're outside, it's going to be way different. It's up to you if you want to add fairy lights inside trees or something like that. That's up to you. You don't have to do all of that, but if it's at night, that would look beautiful. That would look beautiful, right? You may want to add some pillars. Maybe you've seen some really nice pillars on sale and you want to add some pillars either at the entrance or on the altar. How beautiful. How beautiful. I love pillars. I love white spring looking pillars. Just so Corinthian, so beautiful. So you could do that too, okay? Gives you some ideas. But what you don't want to do is leave those walls bare, or if you're at a community center and you're or at, some kind of center or something that you're like borrowing, you're renting out the space and they've got a lot of like their calendar up or, activity board and things like that. You want to either ask if they can remove that for your wedding day or if you guys can cover it. And one of the easiest ways to cover those is with draping. So you can use some draping methods to cover them, but obviously at that point you may have to put some tacks in their wall and hopefully they're okay with that. So it's just, you've got to think about the space. You've got to envision the space, because once you get back those pictures and you have a lot of stuff in the background that should not go there because it doesn't go with the wedding day, you're not going to be happy with those pictures, and it's not the photographer's fault. Okay? You need to remember that. It's not their fault. So they're doing the best they can with what you gave them to work with. They can't decorate your venue and take your photos. I mean, they can, but now you're going to have to, pay them to also be your decorator. Do you have money for that? Because, of course, we have the eye to say, I wish they would have done something with these walls, because we're taking the photo. We're looking at everything. We're not just looking at the people. We're not just looking at the wedding. We're looking at the whole everything, okay? So we need you to do the same thing. And when it gets time to send inspo pictures to your photographer, hopefully you will understand what I'm talking about and you will be like, oh, we don't want that in there. We got to see how we can remove those things or cover them. So we've talked about the overall, like, the walls, or, just when you do your 360, what does the venue look like? We talked about the doors. We talked about the backdrop immediately for the ceremony. And obviously when you move on to the reception, you want to be thinking about the backdrop as well, because when you take photos with people, you don't want a bunch of photos behind like some yellow or tan wall. You want a backdrop. So create a backdrop if you need to. Once again, you can start with some draping, some of those fairy lights, things like that. Get creative. You can get some cardboard, make a little stand, and do all kinds of stuff with backdrops. So get creative, make it yours. You guys can bring in things from your love story into the backdrop as well. Maybe like where you guys met, you have like some pictures of that, or a mural, whatever. It's up to you. Maybe you want to put your your monogram or logo, your family logo on different things, maybe even like a backdrop, and go have that created. You know, step and repeat, things like that you can use over and over again for other parties like anniversaries and holiday parties and things like that. The stuff that you use at your wedding doesn't just have to be at your wedding and then go into a box and never seen again. I want to mention that too when it comes to these DIYs, that you know, that's not the case. We get to use these things over and over again. It's just about your imagination on how you can use them over and over again. Okay, lanterns can be used at any party. Candles, bodices can be used at any party. You can decorate your home with them. You can decorate your office with them. People be going out and buying all this extra stuff, and I'm like, why are you buying all these extra things when you have things right there at your house from when you got married and you don't even realize it because you put it in the boxes? Take that stuff out, you guys. Take it out and start using your things, because we don't need to be living where things are just sitting around in boxes. It's not living, okay? So you've got your backdrop, you've got your venue space figured out, and then you've got your doorways figured out and windows figured out. Now, if you want to add a ton of flowers everywhere, that's up to you. Remember, we did talk about flowers have become outrageously expensive, and people that are buying them are realizing, hey, these are going to die, and I'm going to be on my honeymoon, and I won't even be able to see those flowers for more than just that one day. That's not good, okay? So it's up to you to figure out some other ways to decorate besides flowers, and there's lots of other ways to decorate. I've already given you guys great examples throughout this video itself. Now, the next thing you want to think about are the chairs. Do you want to leave those folding chairs just white folding chairs? They look perfect. They look beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that as long as they're clean and fresh and very white, not dingy. But if you want to add like some accent chairs, like chairs where certain people you want to sit at, like maybe family members or your bridal party, you can do some accent chairs where they have like some ribbons tied in the back of them, or some form of a sash that goes around them. It's up to you. You can get creative with this as well. You could do a vine. Just make sure that it's something flat, because people will be still sitting there and you want them to be comfortable. But think about the chairs. I think that a lot of times people are leaving the chairs out, especially at the reception. And then you see this. I've gone to a wedding before at a church, and then you go down to the reception and it's in like the cafeteria of the church, and you know how like they have like just those really, really, really bland white walls, like they're very starch white, and it's a cafeteria, right? So like they don't go all out with decorating a lot of the times, but they also definitely don't go out decorating when it comes to tables and chairs. So you have to think about, okay, do we want tablecloths to cover the tables? Do we want runners in the middle of the tables, you know, the runners that help to decorate the table even more so than just, you know, your candles and your candlestick holders and your candlesticks and your flower arrangements and things like that, your lanterns that are in the middle, things like that. Like, you just want to think about you have to literally put yourself at that wedding and think about everything that could possibly be decorated if you want it decorated. Now, getting back to the chairs at the reception, a lot of times people don't decorate the chairs because they're like, wow, that's going to be a lot. But just remember, you can always use that decor for other things. So if you do table chair cloths over the tables, you can rent those. So you don't have to go out and like buy those, because you know most people aren't going to be able to use those again for a party. Like, you would be hosting a party the same size every single time, that many chairs, probably not. So you may just want to rent those when it comes to the DIYs. Okay, so what could we get started on right now out of this entire list? Number one, the backdrop. Whatever you want on the altar with you for the ceremony, start doing DIYs right now. Also, DIYs for the backdrop at the reception when you have all your friends there and you want to take pictures and stuff. Start with those two things. And just keep creating a list and going down the list. And the main thing you also want to think about is the floors. A lot of people leave the floors out. Yes, they clean the floors. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about DIYs, decorating, and what else could be put there. I would have for the floors at the ceremony some form of rug or runner or something that you can put down, that you can walk down the aisle to show, hey, people, don't walk down this part. This is just for the bride and the bridal party when they get ready to walk down the aisle, okay? I would have something unique that's just for them to be able to do that. And then we need for ushers or officiants or the trumpet players to please guide people to walk around to your seat, not down the middle of the aisle, okay? Even if you have to get up to use the restroom, go around and go out the back. Please don't go down the aisle. That is very, very rude. Very, very rude. So getting back to those DIYs, on the floor you could put some lanterns. Just be careful. You may want to use fake candles, like the faux candles for this. I have seen a gentleman knock over a little arrangement that had just a candle and then like some flowers and stuff. It wasn't in a lantern, but he did knock the entire thing over when he walked to his seat. It was at the end of an aisle, very visible, but this person probably just wasn't paying attention and they're trying to hurry up and sit back down. What was the mistake he made? He went down the aisle. If he would have went around on the sides, that would not have happened. That decor is in the middle for a reason. So what he needed to do was not be rushing back to his seat down the aisle. He was supposed to rush to his seat on the sides. So you just, like I say, you just want to do your due diligence that people understand, like that is very rude. That's not good etiquette. And you need to go around to get to your seat, you know, to get up and get out. So think about the floors. When you get to the reception, once again, think about the floors. You can put those same lanterns or arrangements. You can do a flip where you take that decor and you put it right in front of the sweetheart table. So right in front of where the couple will be sitting, they call that the sweetheart table. You can put that there. If your court will be sitting with you, your bridal party will be sitting with you, those tables as well, you can put the arrangements in front of that, okay? So yeah, so that's what you have for the floors. And then we already discussed the chairs. We talked about the backdrop. Now let's talk about some small DIYs that you will be eventually working on at some point. These smaller DIYs are going to be signage. We're going to go over that in another video where we talk all about all the signage that you could have at your wedding. There may be some ones that you have even seen at weddings that we can add to this list as well. So what do you guys think? What DIYs are you going to start right now when it comes to, you know, the ceremony? You know, if it were me, and it has been me, so I know what we started with, and that was with the sand. That was with getting those jars, you know, together, and because we were going to do the sand pouring, and then the candles, we made sure we got the candles for the candle lighting. So make sure that you have that. Just go ahead and start creating, crafting, as well as collecting. Creating, crafting, and collecting. There you go. All the things that you need for the altar, okay? So everything for the altar. If you need a special tablecloth for the altar, go ahead and get all of that together. Now, as you're creating, this is important. Everybody listen up. Where's the little bell? Everybody listen up. As you're creating, I want you to be putting things in boxes. Label the box. What is going to be in the box? Just go ahead and just label it. Just as you're doing it, just, okay, this is going to be, you know, the box that's literally for everything on the ceremony, like on the aisle, on the altar. So you're going to have a little box, and it's going to have your candles in there for lighting, the candle lighting candles, the holder for that. It's going to have the sand and the bottles, the jars for pouring the sand in, okay? It's going to have all of that in there. And then any kind of extra decor, tablecloths, things like that you can think of that's going to be on the altar that are smaller items that you're making for your DIY, okay? So make sure that you label that box very, very well. Get out a black marker and label that box very, very well. I would even, if I were you, take out a white piece of paper, a blank piece of paper, and write it on there because it's even more visible on something white rather than those brown boxes. And you can also print it out if you choose to go that way. Just print it on a piece of white paper with dark black letters. Big, big letters, okay? Because you will be giving these boxes, you're going to have, a few of these boxes, and you're going to put them in some crates or something to carry them in, and people are going to, your bridal party is going to give these boxes to the day of coordinator. They're the ones that's going to put everything out according to your plan of where you wanted everything, okay? They're the ones that's going to be decorating all of your stuff with your vision in mind. So you may want to even print out some mock-ups, so some mock-ups of what each station looks like. So while you're doing all the DIYs, you may want to go ahead and just print out some, take some pictures of what you want each little station to look like. So we started with the ceremony on the altar. Take a picture of what you want that setup to look like so that they know, right? Then you've got the welcome station where people come in and they sign the guest book and things like that. Get your DIYs ready for your guest book. And so, the welcome area, if you're going to have, I told you guys to print out those pictures from your engagement party and from your proposal and things like that along the way. You're printing things out and you're also making them into larger sizes so that you can use them either on the day of the wedding or at other wedding events like the wedding shower and things like that, or even at the rehearsal dinner. So you're going to figure out what each and every area needs. So the first thing people are going to see when they walk in is that welcome area. And so you want to make sure that you have all your DIYs ready for that, a pin for them to sign in on if you're doing the pin route and the book route. You may be doing a little message where they can leave you a message or write you a little note and put it in a jar. Whatever it might be, you want to get those things ready, prepared for the welcome area. There's so many things that you could do for each area, but it's going to have to fit with your aesthetic, your style, what really resonates with you and your fiance, okay? So think about that. You're going to, like I said, put them each into a box. You're going to create a mock-up for each and every station. Just take a picture of what you want it to look like, because they're not going to know as your decorators what you want it, and they're just going to put it out however they see fit if you don't leave them something to go on. Now, when it gets to the reception, you do the same thing. You're going to do a mock-up of the sweetheart table. You're going to do a mock-up of the bridesmaids table, do a mock-up of the wedding guest table. Then you're going to do a mock-up of, they're going to do a flip of your welcome stuff. They're going to bring all your welcome table stuff into the reception area. And then, you'll have signage and everything for all this later where it's like, wedding guest gifts and things like that. So people make sure that they take a gift. A lot of times people don't know that it's a gift, so then they'll leave them behind. So even if you have stuff on the table, make sure you'll have a little signage for that that's like wedding guest gift, so that they know, oh, this is mine. This is for me. Perfect. And some gifts you are not really that obvious that it's really a gift. It just looks like decor on the table. So you want to make sure that you let them know that this is for them. And we'll talk about all that signage later. But for now, you're just worried about the decor itself and getting it to different boxes and labeled properly what's in each box. You want to get all your DIYs back, okay? Someone is going to be either putting this in your vehicle, in the trunk of your vehicle, or giving it to a family member, and you're going to make sure that you're going to get all of your decor back at the end of the day after the reception, okay? Nothing left behind. Nothing left behind, because once it's left behind, we don't know what's going to happen to it. So Like I said, you're going to go through every little portion, every little station, every little area. You know, there's some things that are going to be a little bit too big to put into a box, and that's okay. You're going to make a separate list of just all the big items. Like if you rented the arch, if you have some step and repeats, if you have your own easel and you've got those big pictures that are going on it, or you've made a sign that's going on it for a seating chart, whatever it is, you're going to be making a list because you cannot allow these things to get left behind. Okay. So when it comes to DIYs, get creative. All right. Get creative, get collecting some stuff if you don't have it. Right. And get those crafts together, because you don't want to get down to the last month of your wedding and you still don't have any of the DIYs done. And the DIYs, they're these little details that make or break the vision of your wedding. They really do. They really do. I know when I walked into my reception and I saw some things that the venue had said we were supposed to have and they weren't there, I noticed right away. So you want to make sure that you're keeping inventory of all of this, and especially if it's something that the venue was supposed to provide, because they need to be held accountable for the things that they did not do and that they did not provide. Okay. And a lot of times it's like, well, they've already given us their money, so they don't care about you. They don't care about, but that's so wrong, and they need to be held accountable for that, and they need to be giving out partial refunds for things that they did not execute. Okay. But yeah, have fun with the DIYs. Take your time, go down your list, and just have fun. Just have fun. DIYs are great. I want to hear what DIYs you guys are working on. Okay. But now we're at the budget binder. Any of you that are keeping up with your budget binder, every episode we talk about who's paying for this. Some episodes there isn't anything to pay for. We're just doing other stuff, other planning things. But in this one, we are talking about DIYs and decorating for the ceremony and reception specifically. Who traditionally pays for this? The parents of the bride. So I don't know who's going to be paying for it for your wedding, but that's who traditionally pays for it at the wedding. Okay. Be my guest. We are now at the segment called Be My Guest. And I, as your content creator, am looking for guests to be on your wedding series podcast. I'm looking for people who are interesting and they want to share their love story. They're excited and they are working on their DIYs right now. So if you are working on your DIYs right now, or you created DIYs for your wedding, how did it go? Did things start falling apart? I know I have been to one wedding where like the stuff started falling apart and I was like, oh no. And so I just kind of, didn't want to make it obvious, and I kind of tried to fix some of the things as they were falling down and stuff. But, obviously that wasn't my place. I'm not the one who created those decorations. But I want to hear, how did it go? Did it go well? Did everyone think that it was like something store-bought or something that you found at a boutique or whatever, I want to hear your story when it comes to the DIYs, because I know that everybody has a story about them. And I want to go so far later as to do another series where we just sit and talk about DIYs for the wedding. How fun would that be? Like, I would like to be on camera and just showing you guys a lot of the DIYs that I created for my wedding, and then things I've created after that's just really unique that you could use for your wedding. Who would want another series like that? So it wouldn't be as long as this one. It wouldn't be a year-long series, but we would get to talk about a lot of the arts and crafts that I love creating. And I didn't want to go down a huge rabbit trail on this one, because arts and crafts and DIYs are like a big thing on their own. And once I get started, I just can't stop. So I did want to do that to you guys today. But hopefully it's something that you all would be interested in, going on a journey with me with, and getting something out of it and being able to use some of those DIYs for your wedding. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. But I am looking for guests to be on your wedding series podcast, talk about their love story, talk about their DIYs. And the way you do that is by sending me an email, get the conversation started with me at yourcontentcreator@yahoo.com. Once we have a little talk, I'll send you some interview questions and stuff and see if we are a really good fit. And then we will do a video call together where I will interview you about your DIYs and how they went for you or how they're going for you now. And then we will put it on your wedding series podcast so everyone can see it. And like I said, it will be on video. So we will be on camera. Yay! All right, lovebirds, you know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm about to say, lovebirds. That's the end of the show. I will see you in the next episode. Bye, lovebirds.
Lights, camera, action, baby, strike a pose. Phones and cameras out, just watch it all unfold. We're the stars of the show, ain't no need for filters. Living life through the lens, capturing our thrills. Put away your phones and cameras, let the good times roll. Our content creators got it all under control. From weddings to events, parties, travel and brands, we're living the paparazzi life. It's all in our hands. Lights, camera, action, we're ready to go. We're professionals, don't you already know? From TikTok to Instagram.